Hey there, crafty family. This is Junkin' 101 with Cassie, and I am your host, Cassie. So, in my previous video, I did a design team share. The kit is by Stephanie Huff. Her Etsy shop is Junk with Steph, and the kit that I'm using is called Darlin'. So I showed that I had taken one of her background pages and printed this Scrabble word or Scrabble letter piece over her background page. Sorry, words are not good this morning. I woke up with a little bit of a sore throat with this whole sinus stuff going on, you know, because of the weather change and stuff. So gonna try and do this video, and I may have to stop for a couple of drinks or something, but yeah, we'll get through it. And anyway, I told you guys that I was going to take this page here and turn it into charms. So I have done a lot of prep work for this. I did a lot of stuff yesterday to get this ready so that you can see all the different stages and stuff. So let's get into this. Here on my desk, hopefully everything's in frame and you can see it. Oh, for the most part. We'll just come down just a tad. So, for this project, you're going to need a couple needle nose pliers, your tweezers, scissors, your crocodile, or you can use an awl or a pokey tool, something along those lines. You're going to need some glossy accents, and you're going to need your distress ink. So, as you can see, I kind of have the different stages laid out here on my desk. Let me just move some stuff out of my way at the moment. So this is part of her kit as well, these little circles, and I've just taken one and I've inked around it and put the glossy accents over it. I'm still waiting for it to dry, and I have it on this piece of paper because I don't want to accidentally get the glossy accents on my mat, so we're working on the piece of paper today. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to cut out all your little tiles, obviously. And I printed out 2 copies of them so that I have 2. That way, here's a finished tile. Let me bring that up here. That way, when you make your charm here, it's on both sides of the charm. That way, no matter which way it flips or flops on your journal or wherever you're using it, you've got something on either side. Now, you don't have to do this. You can just leave one side with the letter. You can do like decoupage on the back side of it. You could do script stamping. You could do whatever you want on the back side of it. Now, I have a bunch of these made up. To be exact, I have 26 of them because I have one of each letter. I probably will do another set just so I have them on hand, because this is a cheap, effective way to make charms. Like, I was thinking you could do this with butterflies, and you could back butterflies together. Like, I don't have this out ready, but you could take all these butterflies that we got here a while back at the Dollar Tree. You could take, like, let's find 2 of the same. Okay, these ones are the same. These ones are a little bit bigger than what I would use. I would try to stick to the little bit smaller ones. Let's see here. Okay, here's a couple. So I would maybe take like these 2, and you could, because they're the same, you could back them like this, and you could do the glossy accents over them, do your little hole, put a jump ring, and you'd have a little butterfly charm. So this is just an easy way to make some charms if, you know, you don't have any, or you can't get a hold of any, or, you know, charms are expensive, so why should we, oh no, I've got things falling all over the place now. You know, why should we go out and spend buku bucks on charms when we can essentially make them at home ourselves for, you know, pretty cheap? So anyway, let's get into this. So the first thing we have to do is we have to glue our two pieces together. So let's do that real quick. Sorry, my chair's kind of squeaky. So, and I obviously put way too much glue on there, but just kind of put them up there, get them together. Use a paper towel to just clean off your excess glue, or excess glue, should I say. I told you, words aren't working today for me. They're not. Okay, so we've got that one glued together. Let's get this one glued together. And you want to make sure when you're gluing these together that you're gluing them the right way, because I do have one that I glued together and it's wrong. I've got one letter going this way and the one on the back is going sideways, so they're not lined up. Oh well. It ain't the end of the world, you know. So, okay. And when you're cutting your letters out to begin with, you don't have to worry about them being perfect, because we're gonna fix that. So, let's put our cap on our glue here so it doesn't dry out. Set that aside. And now we do our trimming. So for this, I kind of want my corners rounded a little bit. All you're going to do is you're going to go around and you're going to trim this up. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Get it how you like it. If you don't want your corners rounded, your corners don't have to be rounded. Keep everything square if that's how you like it. This is just how I kind of wanted to do it. And I know you're all sitting there screaming at me, use a corner rounder, use a corner rounder. Well, I tried that, and I'll show you how it turned out. So I used a corner rounder on one of them. Let me find it. And it didn't turn out bad. It's just not how I wanted it. So this is the corner rounded one, and this is without the corner rounded one. Sorry, I got ink or something on me. I washed my hands before the video, I promise, but I got ink or something on me. But anyway, this is with the corner rounder, and this is without. This is just me hand cutting it. So there is a big difference, and it does make it look pretty different by using the corner rounder versus no corner rounder. So it's whatever your preference is, whatever you want to do. For me, I'm just going to, and yes, it takes a little more time, but I'm just going to trim around these. So while I do that, we can have a little chat. Today it's kind of gloomy and rainy here. I just had the cable guy here because we had to have a new cable jack put in our front room. So when we first moved in, we had the cable jack put in where we used to have the TV at, and when my dad moved in with us, we moved things around to make it a little bit more easier for the wheelchair and stuff to be in the house. So we had a cable cord running across our front room, and anyway, it was just getting in the way, and I don't know if you guys know this, but the longer your cable cord is, the weaker your connection can become for like your internet and your cable and stuff. So we finally decided to have the cable guy come out and put in a jack on the other side of the room too. They raised their prices on that. I couldn't believe it. They raised their prices by like, they've doubled their price actually. So anyway, it's raining here today. My husband's at work. Everybody else is still sleeping. So I figured I'd come on and do a video. Okay, so I think those are good. I'm just going to get rid of my little pieces here, get them out of our way. So the next step is we're going to ink. Again, this is optional. You don't have to do this. And I know watching someone ink isn't the funnest thing to do, but I wanted to show you guys everything step for step on how I do it. And so I just go around and I ink the front side, and then I flip it over and I ink the other side. So we do that on all of them. Okay, got that done. And then this is where the fun stuff comes in. So these ones here, I only have one side done. So what you do is you're gonna take, let's move this stuff up here. Hopefully I'm staying in frame. Let me make sure I'm in frame so you can see. Yep, I'm good. Okay, so you're going to take your glossy accents and you're just going to, how I do it is I just run a bead around the outside, and you don't need a very thick layer for this. And then I just kind of go back and forth and fill in the inside with the glossy accents. And it is going to look cloudy at first, and then I use the tip and I just kind of make sure it's all the way to the edges, and that's how we do that. Now if you can see here, there is a major difference. Like this one that's wet is very cloudy looking, and this one's very clear. So that's how you can tell once they're starting to get dry and stuff, is because when it's wet it's got that cloudy look, and then when it's clear or like this, then you know it's dry. But I just let mine set and dry for several hours. This is where your tweezers come in helpful. So what I do is I just take my tweezers and I push my tile up out of my way. That way it's not going to get in my way. I'm not going to, you know, bump it or whatever. And the glossy accents is oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-settling, should I say? That, you know, if you put more on one side or whatever, as it sets, it evens itself out almost. And I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but good enough for what we need, right? So again, just make sure you get to the edges. And sometimes, so far on both of these, I haven't gotten any. Sometimes you'll get a little air bubble. I just kind of take the, oh, look at that bubble. Speaking of bubbles. I just kind of take the corner of my tweezers and try and pop the bubble. If that doesn't work, I just take the tip of my Glossy Accents here and I kind of try and push the bubble out the side. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. You could use like a safety pin or a sharp pointed needle or something like that to poke the bubble. Like this one. This one's got an air bubble in it. So I'm going to try and just push it out the side with the tip of my Glossy Accents bottle here. And like I said, you know, these don't have to be perfect. You could do a little bit of a thicker layer than what I'm doing. You don't have to. A thin layer will do you just fine. So, that's the front side. Now, when you do the front side, and you set and let those dry, you end up with these. So, you've got one side that is done, and one side that is not done. And you can see a major difference on those, how they look with the Glossy Accents versus no Glossy Accents. So we flip them over and we do it again. Now I'm not going to make you sit and watch me Glossy Accent these. I'll do those off camera here in a little bit. But anyway, you just do the same process on the back side. You just put your Glossy Accents on there and you walk away and you let them dry for a couple hours. Then you end up with these. So you've got them on this side and you've got Glossy Accents on the other side. So you've pretty much got your little charm. Now there's a couple of different ways you can do the next step. You can take your little pokey tool like this or a needle or something, and I would suggest like, I don't want to get in that, like setting them in a book like this or something, you know, and then using it to poke your hole in the corner. But I didn't like how that looked. Oh goodness, excuse me. I didn't like how that looked. So I used my Crocodile. And I used the very small one. I didn't use the big hole. I used the smaller hole. And at first I'm like, oh my gosh, that's way too big of a hole. But it actually turns out okay. So I just go on the corner here. And it don't have to be perfect. And I poke a little hole in the corner. And because we have the Glossy Accents on there on both sides, it should be fine. And it should hold up. So again, sorry, I gotta line this up and see what I'm doing. Just poke a hole. So there, we've used our Crocodile now. Gonna set that aside. So now all we have left to do is put our jump rings in, and this is where some needle nose pliers would come in handy. Now, for the jump rings I have, I don't know exactly what size they are. I buy that mix that has like the 3 different sizes of jump rings in it, and I've just used here the largest jump ring that they have. Sorry, I need to get a drink. Oh, goodness. Darn weather changes, man, I tell ya. So, what we're going to do now, and you don't have to have 2 pairs of these. You can only do 1 pair. 1 pair is how I do it. You find your opening of your jump ring. Now, we are not going to hold our jump ring like this and open it like a C. You don't want to do that because you're going to weaken your jump ring, for one, and you're going to also mess up the shape of the jump ring. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold it on either side of the slit. I don't know if you can see, but right here is where the jump ring is cut. So I'm going to hold it on either side of that, and I'm going to twist. I'm going to pull one side towards me and push with my thumb and push the other side away from me. And then I'm going to put my little tile on there. And then I'm going to close it the same way I opened it by just twisting. And you're going to do that for all of your little Scrabble tiles. And like I said, you could do this with butterflies, you could do this with other die cuts that you have, you could do it with ephemera pieces, anything. This one I have like this because I'm thinking about maybe using it on the front cover. And so I just wanted to jazz it up a little bit. So there, we've got homemade little charms, and yes, you do have to set and wait for them to dry and all that fun stuff. But like I said, if you can't find charms, or if you can't afford the charms, like charms are crazy expensive. I mean, even when they're on sale, they can be pricey. So I don't buy charms a whole lot. And I just figured, well, hey, why don't we make our own? Junk journals are about making everything handmade anyway, so why don't we make our own charms? So this is what I came up with, and I know other people have done this. This isn't my own idea. So, anyway, I just thought it was fun. I thought I would share it with you guys. It's also another way to use a junk journal digital kit by using the backgrounds. Now, this is a lighter colored background, so you don't get a whole lot coming through. But if you were to use like a collage page or something like that, I think that would be really cool. But also, you don't want too bright or too dark or too busy of a background, because you still want to be able to see your Scrabble letters and numbers and stuff on top of it. So it's just kind of, you gotta play around with it and see what's gonna work. And how I did this was I printed the background, and then I put the piece of paper back into my printer, and then I printed the Scrabble tiles on top of it. And I did use cardstock for this versus regular printer paper. I think if you used regular printer paper, I think it would be too flimsy. Like, these are still, I mean, you can still bend them a little bit. They're still a little bit pliable. I don't want to bend them too much because I don't want my glossy accents to crack. But I mean, they're pretty substantial. They're not, they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to bend up or any of that stuff unless you're really rough with them. So, anyway, that is my share for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you guys make some of these yourself, I'd love to see them. You can come over to JJ with Joy and share them in the JJ with Joy group. Everybody over there would love to see your work anyway, and we'd love to have you over there. So, you can share them over there, or you can message me with them. You can find me on Facebook, all that fun stuff. So, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you give it a try for yourself. I hope you try different items. It doesn't have to be just the Scrabble tiles. Like, I think after I get off of here, I think I'm gonna use some glossy accents on a few butterflies and make some butterfly ones. So, I mean, your imagination is your limit. So, do what you do, have fun, and be creative with it. So anyway, guys, do what you love and love what you do, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.